They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my people. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right. One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never a home, only a place of captivity, save facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angels, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles will make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now. You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. Devils design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums. Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Shalom, Israel. I'm Officer 50 Yaquab, and this is the ISUPK Monday history class. All right, and we started out of 1 West 125th Harlem, New York, under Commander General Hunter. We ain't affiliated with nobody. All right. And tonight's topic, we're gonna get into it. As y'all can see it up there, it's the reason for the King James version of the Bible. You know, King James, no LeBron. You know, we talking about LeBron James, talking about King James, which was a black man who sat on the thrones of Ireland, Scotland, and England. You understand? 3 thrones, man. This brother ruled, right? And this is gonna be a 2-part class, but tonight we just gonna touch on, you know, the meat and potatoes of why. You know, why would this book have to be translated? Because, you know, we got so many of our brothers and sisters out here. They say, well, who wrote the book? Look, who wrote it? Who wrote it? Listen, we wrote it. All right? We wrote it. The Negroes wrote it. You understand what I'm saying? Throughout the history. You understand what I'm saying? Moses was a black man. You understand? King Solomon is a black man. Christ is a black man. You understand? So we're gonna get into a little bit of this. Officer Mataza Corral, you there, sir? If I could, let me get the slide that starts off why King James authorized the translation, sir, if I could. All right. And this is real important. We have to know this. You have to know that, first of all, we got to know what a translation is. In the simple form, it's just taking one language and putting it to another language so that the people who are reading it can understand. That's translation in its simplest form, right? So that's what we're about to get. Y'all gonna see that. Y'all gonna start to see a story being told here. You understand, about how our oppressor, so-called white man, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. You understand? This is just an evil human who has no capacity to love anyone, not even himself, but he is the great deceiver. He is the dragon. He is a deceiving, lying snake. You understand? And a brother, you understand, who had a rightful rulership, a right to rule and sit on the throne. This brother had to take his time and to make sure that the most historical book, the most historical gathering of information, you understand, was protected, right? So we're going to go up here. If you look up here, it says King James authorized the translation of the King James Bible to protect against religious dissenters, right? We all know that something becomes a religion to you by taking on the custom of another people. Why? Because you have to practice it. You have to practice a religion. You understand what I'm saying? See, we didn't have to practice the laws, statutes, and commandments in this Bible. They were given to us, right? We understand that. They were given to us. The Lord gave us the law. So with that being said, King James, his whole fight was to make sure that these religious groups that was coming around didn't take this Bible and do something evil with it, right? Said the religious dissenters, both the Catholic, popish persons who sought to keep people in ignorance, and self-conceited brethren who promoted their own interpretations, right? That means these people was trying to take these scriptures, right? Take these records and teach some twisted version of them, right? And you might ask yourself, well, what's something that could be taught that somebody could take out of it and try to use it to twist it? Well, I'll tell you. The identity of the true children of Israel, which is the most important thing on this earth. Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, something. The world has always been black and white. And I'm not talking about ink to paper. You understand what I'm saying? I'm talking about them versus us. It has always been about that. All right? And that is how it's going to be until Christ returns, right? So it goes on to say, rather than unifying the Church of England under a single authorized text, the project aimed to settle religious differences, right? Now, this is where your Christianity come in. Of course, King James, the brother, was a Christian. You understand that. But he very much indeed was a black man. On his insignia, it clearly stated that he knew who the tribe of Jacob was and that he was a part of the tribes of Jacob, which are what? The 12 tribes of Israel. You understand? But the brother sided with the Protestant church because, of course, we all know what the Catholic Church is. What did the Catholic Church do? First of all, they done shed. I think more people done been unalived and lost their life under the Crusades and under the Roman Catholic Church than anything on this earth. They send people all across the world just to take land. You understand what I'm saying? They try to enslave their own people, use their own greed. They tried to put themselves as if they were the right hand of the Most High. Right. The Roman Catholic Church puts itself on the same seat as the Most High. Right. We all know this. We're going to break into some scripture and we're going to get back to the second slide. The first one I want to bring out, if I could, let me get Nehemiah chapter 13. We're going to start at verse 23. All right. We're going to dig into the history a little bit. Right. Now, keep that in mind now, what we just brought out about King James. This is his struggle. This was the main struggle he had to deal with. It was a lot of rebellion and little wars and little scuffles going on during that time. You understand? But this is what it was all about. It was all about who was going to gain control, right? And by the end of this class, in the part 2, what we're going to see all together is who this world was made for and who was made to rule over it, right? And we're going to get in there. Nehemiah chapter 13, we're going to start at verse 23. If you understand what translation is, right? Like we said, the simple form is just taking one language and taking it from that and finding words that come close to it or mean the same thing and putting it into a language where we can read. You understand what I'm saying? When y'all young warriors got it, let me know.
Chapter 13, verse 23. Chapter 13.
I'm gonna give these young brothers a hand too in here, man, reading this Bible, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. Yahweh Shai is on his way back, man. We gotta understand. We got some young brothers in here, not even teenagers, reading this word, man. You understand what I'm saying? Young man Issa, am I correct? Young man Issa and young man Douglas, right? All right. Give them brothers a hand again, man. This is where your children need to be at, man. Learning from the priests and the prophets of the Lord. You understand? The real children of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, man. You understand what I'm saying? Yes, your children don't need to be out there preparing to celebrate Thanksgiving and Halloween. They need to be in here learning about how the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of and the deceiver he is. You understand? Go ahead whenever you got it, young man.
Read chapter 13, verse 23. Verse 23.
How many are mine iniquities and sins? Make me know my transgression and my sin. Wherefore hidest thou thy face and holdest me for thy enemy?
Read it one more time from the top. I think that's you said 23, right? You want
Nehemiah 13, starting at verse 23.
Starting at verse 23.
How many are mine?
It should say in those days. Verse 23. Yeah, there you go. You see here in Job.
Oh.
See that right there? So find Nehemiah.
Are we waiting on the young warrior to find the scripture? We're gonna just give you a little sidebar action to what's going on here with Nehemiah. Nehemiah is a captive right now, right? It's about to show you why and why and how dangerous it is to not know your language, to not be able to speak your language fluently. Like right now, it would be so easy for blacks and Hispanics to come together if we could understand each other more clearly, right? You understand what I'm saying? Like, what I mean is this. Most Hispanics that are over here, right, we can't understand what they're saying. So if we have a misunderstanding, it's no way that we can fix it. We can't go and say, well, no, this is what happened because we speak different languages, right? They have to fight to learn English. We have to try to learn Spanish. General Muhammad has done a terrific job of speaking, learning to speak Spanish. You understand? A Tawab job for the general. It's a couple other brothers that are in the school that's taking up and learning Spanish, so with that they can relate and speak in these classes to the other tribes. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's nothing like being able to understand each other, right? And King James, by him doing what he did, that was his mission, to make sure that everybody could understand why it was important to know what was being read and understood in the religious text called the Bible, right? You got that, warrior? Go ahead.
In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab.
All right, hold your point right there. It said, in those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. Now, you will say, well, what's wrong with that? They just married women. The problem is we have a law, right? In Deuteronomy, before the children of Israel came over to the land of milk and honey, the Lord told them, do not give your daughters for wives and your sons for husbands to these other nations, right? They are heathens. They would turn you from your God. You will say, well, how can somebody turn you from your God? Well, that's as simple as Adam and Eve, right? A man would do anything for his woman. You understand what I'm saying? Even go against God.
Right.
A man will fight against his God, right? To go and live in peace with his woman. You understand? And what would be the first type of woman to turn a man from his God? A woman from another nation. Why? Because she has grew up with other gods. She's grew up with other commandments and laws that she keeps. That's just like in the house with let's just say a lot of brothers and sisters in this school, right? You got family members that are Christians. I'm trying to tell you, when you tell them you can't come to cut turkey, and sit across from, the uncle been molesting the whole family. You understand what I'm saying? Right. It's a problem. Right. It's a problem because you don't want to celebrate the unaliving of the Lord's people, which are the so-called Native Indians, man. What is so wrong with that? Why would I want to celebrate the unaliving of my people? Right. Why would I do that? I don't want to celebrate that. That is indeed what the celebration of Thanksgiving is. It is a celebration to the devil, to the white man, which is the devil the Bible speaks of. He celebrates the victory that he got over the Native Indians, man, by coming over here and stealing this land from them, man. Waging a secret war from them, man. You understand what I'm saying? Right. This is just the truth, right? So here in Nehemiah is telling these brothers, like, listen, man, no, he's saying in those days, man, I seen brothers marry wives of Ashdod, of Ammon and Moab. Those the Chinese and the Japanese, right? Go ahead with the next verse, young man.
And their children... And their children spoke half in the speech of Ashdod and could not speak in the Jews' language.
All right, hold it right there, young man. You see that right there? It said they spoke half in Ashdod and spoke in half in the Jews' language. You understand what I'm saying? They couldn't speak it. They could only speak half of this over here, which was the Syrian. And they could only speak half of this over here, which was the ancient Hebrew, which is the Lashawan Kodesh, which was we speak. When we say the greeting to the brothers, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Barakatah, in the name of the Lord through Christ, bless you. You understand what I'm saying? This is why the Sabbath service is so important in this school. You understand, in this holy place, to get us back to speaking our own language, right? So here it is. The brother telling him, like, listen, man, we got these kids growing up. In the Zondervan dictionary, it calls a child that has an Israelite father or not, and a heathen mother, or a Israelite mother or a heathen father. It calls them a bastard. That is what a bastard is. A bastard is someone who is not a full-blooded Israelite. To be full-blooded, your mother and your father have to be the same thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about, man. Y'all like them pit bulls up here. Y'all like them pit bulls up here, breeding them pit bulls, you know. Y'all know how it is with the bloodline, not trying to break a bloodline. That's how the Lord is. The Lord don't want his children interbreeding with dogs,
Right.
with heathens,
Right.
people who were meant to serve. Why would you want to sleep with the help? They are the help. You understand, right? Go ahead, young brother.
But according to the language of each people.
Go ahead.
All right. And I contend.
Call out verse 25. Say verse 25.
Oh, verse 25. And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them and plucked off their hair.
Hold yourself right there, young warrior. Don't that sound like what Yahushua did, man, when he went in there flipping over them tables, man? Listen, man, this is another thing, too, that's so heavy about this, man. Listen, the priests of the Lord are not weak men.
That's right.
You understand? We haven't been given no orders to pull your hair out, but, brother, trust me, sometimes we want to.
Right.
We want to just grab you up by your legs and shake you and throw you into something. For doing these things. Why? Because these things affect us as a whole, which is why we are in slavery and in bondage now, right?
Right.
Because in this book right now that we are reading, this is exactly where we are right now. The same place and the same thing we were going through now, we were going through it then. Nehemiah was going through it. Nehemiah is just like me and you. You understand? He's an Israelite. Our people were sinning, going after these other gods, and this brother is in slavery. These people spent mostly, if not all of their lives, being slaves, living under some unruly nation of people, people who allow alternative lifestyle, people who allow a man to sleep with another man's woman, people that allow their women to be whores, and their people to be adulterous and to worship the sun and the moon. These are the people that rule over us, right? We're going to go to the next slide. You could drop that, young man. The next slide. The next slide, sir, should be the one that's giving the breakdown of the groups. We want to give these breakdowns of these groups, right? And why it was such a fight, why it was such a big thing for these people to control these records.
Right.
As you can already see, that was a big part of the record right there, that we should not marry, right? He didn't do that just because he wanted to. That is in the law. But our people wouldn't know what the law is if they're speaking and living like Assyrians, right? So what was going on in that time was what was going on now. What's going on now? You know, at that time, everybody wasn't able to have the records. Everybody couldn't read the records. Everybody couldn't have their own record. You can have your own Bible now. You understand what I'm saying? And just to break it down, the Bible, this right here, right? This hasn't been like this the whole time, right? But we got to understand this, what's inside it that's been here the whole time. You understand what I'm saying? These words and these records have been passed down You understand what I'm saying? Through the ages, through the millennia, and stolen. You understand? By certain of our enemies who take our records and try to beat us. They try to proclaim themselves as us, right? And we're going to get into that too in this lesson. All right, here goes the breakdowns right here, the groups and the reasons, right? The popish persons, right? This is why King James had to keep this out of the popish person. A popish person is just someone who is a Roman Catholic pope. That's it. People, their followers, their constituents, so forth and so have you. James first wanted to counter Roman Catholic influence and prevent them from using religious texts to keep people from God's holy truth. Wow. What in there would they try to keep from God's people? It's certainly not he loves everybody, because that's not in there. It's certainly not that. It's certainly not that Christ is white. It's certainly not that. Right? These people were trying to take these records and use it and twist it to fit their own personal gain and schemes to get over one another. But just like the white man is today, he was then and always has been. He fights amongst himself. You understand what I'm saying? When we understand that even World War II with Hitler, Adolf Hitler, right? We do understand that this man was Jewish himself. Adolf Hitler was a Jewish man. We all understand this. But his problem that he had with the Jewish people was the fact that they were using our laws, our commandments, and they were taking them and oppressing and keeping out other so-called whites, other so-called white Europeans. That was the whole point. You're using these things to put an influence and gain power. Who holds all the diamond districts and damn near all the money in America? They own Hollywood, the Jewish man. Right now, Donald Trump got to do whatever them people over there want him to do. They hold all the power, all the cards. They got all of it. Right now, your basketball stars right now. All of these brothers dealing with them Jewish people. With that gambling, they got their hands in everything, man. You understand? But at this time, this is what the Roman Catholic Church was doing, right? And it says the new translation was meant to make the Bible more accessible to the common people, thereby reducing the Catholic Church's power and control. Now, if you do your research, right, there is a book that talks about Scotland, one of the places where King James sat on the throne at. Do you know that most of the people, the Jamaicans, especially in the Caribbean, those people are from Scotland? The majority of those people are from Scotland, where he reigned and ruled at. So who was he making it accessible to read to? Those people. We all know that the Roman Catholics, they spoke Latin, Greek, and Latin is one of the most difficult languages to read. Can you imagine if the Roman Catholic Church would have got a hold of these records and only them, and they would have just started printing mass things in Latin? Even though they wouldn't have gave it out, the Pope just come and tell you, look, God sent me. I'm the right hand of God. Nothing happened here except it go through me. The Roman Pope had just as much as power as the king did. You understand? So all of these things that's going on, this is just a fight for power. Can we get the next slide, sir? Who's the next people, right? And these people right here, we know these people all too well. The self-conceited brethren. They call these the self-conceited ones, the Puritans. Right. You understand what I'm saying, right? The English Reformation had led to various interpretations of scripture with groups like the Puritans, often referred to as the self-conceited brethren, having their own preferred versions of the Bible, like the Geneva Bible. James first saw these dissenting groups and their individual interpretations as a threat to the unity and stability of the Church of England. He sought to create a single authoritative version that will align religious doctrine across the kingdom, right? And now, don't get this twisted. You understand what I'm saying? The brother was not in the truth at all. You understand what I'm saying? But he did know who this book was for, and he knew who it wasn't for. And he was gonna fight this fight. He didn't get these records and write them himself. He had scholars from all over, the top scholars, to come and break down the Septuagint, to come and break down the Dead Sea Scrolls, and compile all the information into one book, which we call today the Bible. It was the 1611 King James Version, right? Which begs to differ. All of these people you see, the Geneva Bible. The Geneva Bible is strictly for Puritans. If you're a so-called Native Indian man, Hispanic man, or a Negro out here reading the Geneva Bible, you need to give it up. You ain't nowhere in that book to be saved. Okay? Nowhere in that book. There's nothing in there for you. It's just like Jehovah's Witness. It's nothing for you in there except for to be an alcoholic. I know y'all know them Jehovah's Witness. Any of y'all know Jehovah's Witness? I do. I got a couple of them, my fam. They all alcoholics. That's one thing with the Jehovah. You could drink. You could go and get as sloppy drunk as you want in that building there. You understand? The Mormons. You understand what I'm saying? The Mormons, let me tell you something. They got in their book that being black is a curse. That we the curse of Ham. Right? That's why books like the Zondervan Bible Dictionary are important, because it dismisses all of these things that our oppressors are bringing out with these versions and different versions of this book, of these texts, right? We're going to go on to the next slide. Should be one more, I think. Maybe one more. It should be the theological disagreement. If you could, sir. If y'all paying attention to what's going on, y'all basically seeing a bunch of Edomites fighting over our history. To use it to oppress people throughout the earth. That, in a nutshell, is just diabolical in itself, right? So the theological disagreement and textual variance, James first was also concerned about the proliferation of different English translations and the variations they contain. Why? Because if you go into let me get one of these, one that we got today, the New King James Version, right? If you run through the these and the thous, right? And then you read the New King James Version, some of the words ain't even in there no more. One of the ones that they love to take out is what's that? Jeremiah 10, I think it is Jeremiah 10, 11, where it says for Judah Gates language. Which one is that? It says they are black.
Jeremiah chapter 14.
Jeremiah 14, the water, sir. Jeremiah 14. If you look at in the new King James or the ASV, it doesn't have the word black in it. That's important. The NIV, ESV, come out of one con. All of those right there, they take away from the words, right? They take away from what's there. Because how am I going to know who Judah is? The fake Jewish man over there don't claim no tribe. He just says, I'm Jewish. I got on a yarmulke and I beat my head on the wall like an Arab every day. The Wailing Wall. It's something about these Edomites and rocks and beating their head across them that get me. I just don't understand. You understand? But this is what they do. This is their nature. They take away from every single culture and people on the earth, and they claim to be those people. And there is no people on this earth that anybody want to be besides us. They all want to be you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. And it's been this way for years, man. They want to be you. They don't want your struggle. They don't even want your God. They don't even want your king. You think these people, you think if a Edomite really understood the Bible, he would want Christ to rule over him? You really believe that? Don't you know when Christ rule, it's going to be 144 other niggas and spicks and wetbacks ruling with him over you? That's what y'all think? Y'all think that they following in that? You think they following this and all falling down? Praise Jesus and all of this because they want a black man to rule over them? No. They don't even think that Christ is black. They think he is like them. Right? And it says he wanted to defend the established text and promote a consistent translation that will ensure consistency and correct doctrine. Right? Even though we know Christianity is super off. You understand what I'm saying? But the correct doctrine is right there. Deuteronomy 28:1. If thou wilt follow the Lord thy God, you understand, do these commandments, all these things I will give you. Blessed will you be in the field. Blessed will you be this. Blessed will you be that. You understand? Also, when those blessings was curses, and those curses is how today is how we distinctly define on who the children of Israel are. These scriptures define that all through this book. It point to who they are and where they are. And King James, this brother, fought to make sure that certain things in this Bible did not change, because these people were trying to use this Bible to say that, hey, we the people, we the right hand of the Lord, right? We're going to go into our next scripture, right? Zephaniah 3:9, right? And the thing about it, what we have to understand, right, is this here. We got to understand this. It is imperative. It is imperative that we get these scriptures correct and that we understand them. You understand what I'm saying? Right now, it's coming together. It's taking a little time because, once again, like I say, we got brothers down there in South America, in Venezuela, where Trump blowing the boats up right now. Those are your brothers and sisters down there. They can't understand us, right? We need our Hispanic brothers and sisters to come in and to come in this truth so Christ can come and do what he got to do. But it's hard because of this language barrier. We have to break the barrier so we can understand each other. I can't alert someone and say that this is danger, this is an enemy, if he can't understand me and I cannot understand him. Do we all get that? If you go back and you look at the Tower of Babel, that was the first thing the Lord did, was separated all the nations, because when everybody could understand each other, it was no telling what they would want to do. Right? But if I could walk up to a Hispanic brother right now, right, and say, hey, listen, man, this person right here is your enemy. This person is going to do this. This person is going to do this. This person is going to do that to you. That will help us. That will help us come together. And when it happened, they will understand, because guess what? Oh, I understand when he said this was going to happen. But we can't because of the language barrier, right? And we about to start getting into these scriptures, man, about all of these different places where we work. When whichever warrior you got it, go ahead and read when you got it. Zephaniah 3:9.
Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
For then will I turn to the people a pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord.
Hold your spot right there, young warrior. The water for that. Zephaniah 3 and 9. Y'all see what that says, what that warrior read? It says, for then will I turn to the people a pure language. That is what the Sabbath service is doing in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohanan.
That's right.
It is giving back the pure language of the so-called black man, Native Indian, and Hispanic man. You did not speak Spanish. You did not speak English. Those are all languages given to you by your slave master, by the man that captured you and beat you and raped you and robbed you. You understand? And unalived you until this day. You understand? Christopher Columbus sailed across the ocean blue to enslave you. You understand? When they came to this new world, they came here to make the children of the Lord their slaves. The first slave ships gathered up the so-called Native Indians. They were referred to as Tainos, Mayans, Incas. And they put them on ships and they took them to Spain. You understand? And then they sailed onto the western coast of Africa where they found us. Speaking Hebrew. We can prove this throughout. If you look up the word massa, it was not them trying to say on the boat master. Massa just simply means an adversary, an enemy. They were saying massa, massa, an enemy, an adversary. You understand? There are records that prove and show that we had Hebrew names coming on to some of those ships. And now we got people going around saying that, hey, man, it's this, whatever. I don't even know if it's a doctrine. It's just a bunch of our people listening to pedophiles and, you know, people that just want to sleep with children and brothers that want to sleep with your women, teaching our people that none of us came on a slave ship. That is crazy. That is ignorant. Right. And you simply must get away from that. Anybody going around believing and thinking that something is wrong with you. Where's the ship? I don't need the ship. I don't need to see the ship to know that I'm a slave. Because the so-called white man, the so-called African man, the so-called Arab, the so-called Ethiopian, everybody, they all prey on us. They all feed and eat off us. And we try to find and struggle and fight to see who we are. Becoming Christians, becoming Muslims, going after the gods of the Arabs, going after this Egyptologists, going after the gods and trying to be the people of the Africans. And we can't find our place. But that's why, brothers, the Lord put the spirit over brothers like King James to fight for these records. Because let me tell you something, if there was not a higher power, they would have succeeded. This is how we know in the ISUPK that the Most High is real. You understand? The Lord said he will return to us a pure language. You will be able to speak these words fluently. But you got to come into the ISUPK to learn it. There is no place on this earth that gives you the Sabbath service the way the ISUPK and the Commander General Hunter does. Right. You will not learn this language. Learning this language gives you a certain type of power, right? It gives you your tongue back. So when you do speak, your power can heal. Learning your natural language has power to it. It's just like if I say right now in the English, stop. When you hear someone say stop, if you hear it and you know what the word stop means, right? It has a certain power to it. So when you hear someone say stop, it doesn't matter if it's a room full of people. Those people will turn and look and try to find where that damn who gave that order. Because there's a power that comes behind words. There's a power that comes with knowing that Christ is a black man and his name is Yahushua, Mashiach. You understand? There's a power to that. And that is the only way you're going to get that power is to come into the ISHBK and the Commander General in your home. You understand? Go ahead, young warrior, and finish it up for me. Bring us home.
Verse 10, right?
Just finish up on verse 9.
All right. Verse 9. For then will I turn to the people of pure language, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord.
Keep going.
To serve him with one consent.
Right. Damn right. Give that brother a hand. That was strong right there, and that's important. You see what it says, that they may all call upon the name of the Lord. Call upon the name of the Most High. They got this teaching out here saying that you can't say. Now, in the Bible, there is a law where you cannot say the Lord's name in vain. You cannot use the Lord's name just for some idiotic reason. But I can use the Lord's name when I'm greeting a brother. If I say to a sister, Yahweh, Shema, you understand what I'm saying? And I'm telling the sister greeting the sister, telling her, may the Lord watch over you through Christ. Yahweh Shema, Alatha, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shah. You understand what I'm saying? That is a certain power. That is a greeting. I'm asking and I'm greeting you in the name of the Lord, and I'm asking him to watch over you, my sister. Or like the greeting with the brothers. Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shah, Barakatah. I'm asking the Lord to bless my brother. You understand what I'm saying? But we got to come together and understand and get this pure language so we can call on the name of the Lord so he can come and destroy our enemies. You understand? That's why we get up in the Sabbath service. We read the Father's Prayer. We read all of these prayers. Psalms 83, Psalms 121. We're asking the Lord to come and take care of our enemies, man, to bring us out of this. Can you imagine blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians in one place calling upon the Lord to help? Why is that important? It's the same thing that happened in Egypt. The children of Israel began to cry out to the Most High. All through that Bible, when those people got together and cried out for help, the Lord came. He sent the prophets, man. And he came and he delivered them out of the hands of their enemies, man. The Lord is going to return a pure language to his people, to where we can all call on his name with the same consent, right? And to serve him with one consent. To serve him the same way. You can't say you love the Most High and you eat pork, shrimp, crab, lobster. You can't be an alternative lifestyle and serve the Most High. We have to be ye of the same mind. Why do we have to follow the same rules? Because if you break those rules, we all have to get the same consequences. It's just that simple. You follow the rule, you good. You break it, you got a problem. But we can't even govern over ourselves because we have to follow these laws given to us by this heathen. Donald Trump just did a Great Gatsby dinner, right? Your family, if you need food stamps, you don't even know how you're gonna feed your family. This man took something from you that a lot of us need because we already struggle. And on the day where they say, look, we ain't giving this out no more. We're going to starve him. This man is evil. I'm not even going to call him a man. He's not a man. This evil dog of a person is having some extravaganza, some Great Gatsby extravaganza, dressing up like the Great Gatsby in Mar-a-Lago, Florida, while your family prepares to starve. And you want to know what? It's so discouraging sometimes, because you would think even without having to read a book that our people will start to see who the enemy was. And it just, sometimes it gives me a headache. It's like there's a wall right here and I just want to run through it head first, because our people don't want to understand what's going on, man. And this is why King James did what he had to do, man. He had to make sure that he preserved these texts for us. These texts that tell us, gather together, O nation not desired, man. Nobody wants us. Nobody is going to save us except us. Right? And part of us knowing and learning on how to do those things were the brothers, you know, in these hellhole of countries ran by dog Edomites and Africans and this person and that person, learning and understanding certain languages so that they can read, right? The next scripture I'm gonna pull is Jeremiah. Let me get matter of fact, let me get Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. While the young warrior's pulling that, I'm gonna read this excerpt, right? Out of the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? Now, we read about Nehemiah. Nehemiah was in captivity during the Medo-Persia Empire, up under the Assyrians. That's your they was in the movie the 300. What's them people? What's his name? The Spartans and all of those people. What's the Xerxes, right? Let me get Jeremiah 17 and 4. Just hold it for me. Jeremiah 17 and 4. All right. We see Nehemiah, right? Nehemiah was a captive in the Medo-Persian Empire, right? Their language was mainly the Assyrian, right? Which is where we get the Assyrian. Let me give you a look of it, so some of y'all can see what the Assyrian looks like, right? It's part of the Lashawan Kodesh, you know, what we read, because you have to read it in the Tanakh. I thought I had one of them in here. Thought I had it. I want to give y'all a good version of it, though. Y'all probably can't read my hand, right? But this is the Assyrian. I'm gonna hold it up there for y'all. Y'all can see that. That's the Assyrian handwriting right there. Right? This is the Assyrian. Right? This is what Nehemiah and other brothers as ourselves, this is what they were reading and writing in those times. Right? When they were speaking when they said that they were speaking half of Ashdod and all of that, that's what they were speaking. They was reading our language and our culture in another writing. And some of them couldn't understand it, because if you can imagine, if you can look at what I just showed you, I know some of y'all saying like, well, how could them brothers read that? You understand what I'm saying? But that's one of the reasons why the Lashawan Kodesh class is so important. It'll teach you how to read those words the correct way, from the translated from Assyrian to how we can understand it in the English, right? So we're going to bring up and get into another type of people, right? The Greeks, right? Alexander the Greek, right? We were slaves ruled over by these people, right? And keep in mind, now all of this is why this fight that King James fought, listen, man, this wasn't just his fight. This fight is stretching long before him, man. We're not even with King James right now. This is just what King James is trying to stop this atrocity from happening in his time, right? So we giving you the build up in the history up until King James, right? And this right here is in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. I advise anybody studying, if you're not in the school, you know, to get this book. If you're in the school, you probably do have it. You know, I didn't even own the Apocrypha. My wife had an Apocrypha. I got her Apocrypha. You know, shout out to the rib, you know. But this is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? This is a dictionary that breaks down certain definitions and things in the Bible, right? And on page 223, it says the Hellenists, Jews who made Greek their tongue, and with it often adopted Greek ideas and practices. Listen, man, do y'all see what the power is in this world? Language. The language of a people is its strength. Why? Because it is communication. Now, while we are in this captivity over here with these Greeks, some of our people just was like, you know what? I'm not even going to speak Hebrew, man. I don't even care about speaking it. I'm going to take on the language of these people up under the Greeks. I'm going to speak their language. And then, and not only am I going to take their speech, I'm going to take on their practices. I'm going to take on their religions. I'm going to start worshiping Zeus and all these other pagan deities, right? All right, young warrior, if you got it, go ahead.
Verse 4. And thou, Jeremiah 17, verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
All right. Stop right there. It says, and thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage. What we just read right there in the Zondervan Bible Dictionary was us being discontinued from our heritage, right? Why would we have to discontinue from our heritage? Because the Lord told us that if we did not keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, that this is what he would do to us. He would allow these heathens to overpower us, to overthrow us, to rule over us, to use us as doormats. You understand? You do understand that the so-called white man treats a dog better than you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, right? A dog has more right to be alive in this country than you do. That's I wonder. I mean, sometimes it's hard to even imagine a place where our people are appreciated. To even sometimes it's hard to even fathom a world where our people can live and actually be treated like humans. Our whole fight has just been to be treated like humans. Just to be treated like a human being. And then at the same time, these people are using our heritage against us to make us slaves, to make us drug addicts, to make us unalive us, to make us pedophiles, man. This is insane. It is disgusting to continue to sit here and be treated less than an animal when we have a whole record, right, that says we are to be treated otherwise. We are supposed to be looked at as a great and mighty nation, a great and mighty people, a great and righteous people, man. But instead, we out here in Norfolk fighting for scraps, man. Fighting to see who gonna be the best drug dealer. Fighting and dying to see who's going to be the biggest gangster. Fighting and dying to see who's going to run the block that we don't even run. And this is why. Because we have discontinued. We have discontinued from our heritage that the Lord gave us. And that's the most important part. He said that I gave thee. These other nations, nobody gave them anything. The Lord does not deal with them. He has not known any other nation but you. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child. Only you has the Lord known. And these are the things. These are scriptures and verses. You understand? And records that are put in this Bible that the Lord put the Spirit on King James to protect. That is why you should not go out and get an NIV or ASV. It takes away from the power. You understand? That you could learn, that you ought to receive and have while you go through this earth, man. This book gives you the, however you want to call it, you want to say your divine principle. This right here gives you the commandment on how you should live. It gives you your wisdom, your knowledge, and your understanding of how to be a Black, Hispanic, Native Indian father and mother. It gives you the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding of how to be a neighbor. And King James, although he was a Protestant Christian, this brother knew that what these so-called Edomites, these not so-called Edomites, but so-called white man, he knew the plan. He knew what they were doing. And the Spirit of the Lord was on this brother to fight against it, right? You got any more on that, young warrior? Go ahead and finish up with it.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled and fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
Water, young brother. And you see what the Lord just said. That's right. Get that brother a hand. He says, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. Look at that, man. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. You trying to serve the Lord in the land you know not. America, listen, man, America is the hardest place to serve the Lord. You want to know why? Because every store you go in, the cheapest meat is what? Anybody tell me. Pork. God out of one God. Get that brother a hand, guy. You don't even have to wait on that answer. Pork. You know, it is not the other white meat, man. But pork is everywhere. You understand it? Even before I came into school, no doubt it was delicious. You understand? I do not want it. I do not crave it. And I do not want to eat it because the Lord said so. But I would have never known that if the Pope would have got their hands on this so-called, this great book right here, these records, this Bible, and they could have changed it and said, hey, man, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do. You can eat whatever you want to eat. You can lay with who you want to lay with, just as long as you give us your money. As long as you bow down to the Pope, kiss the ring. You understand? The Pope ain't nothing but a pimp.
Word.
That's all he is. He a pimp. He wants you to kiss his ring and lift up his skirt. He ain't got no drawers on. You understand? He's just an evil, wicked person, man. The Puritans.
We also got the Jesuits.
The Jesuits? Oh, the Jesuits aside. Oh man, they like to ride bicycles to your house. They get on the bicycle and ride up in your house. Hey, you see it with looking like the Church of Latter-day Saints, man, coming up in there, man. The Mormons, all of that, man. And they come there knowing that the only thing they're trying to do is just waste your time. There is no help for you in there at all. If you look around you now, a lot of these churches are closing down, shutting down. Barakatha Yahweh shot for that, man. Made the Christian church, the doors are closed. May they close permanently. But we got a lot of these churches, right, that are coming together with black preachers and white preachers and Asian preachers and all these preachers from these different races coming together, putting these big multicultural churches together. It's a lot of them in town, you know, and they send buses and everything out there to the projects and things, and they tell you they're gonna help you with light bills and give out tours and everything, but you gotta come to service. The whole service, the whole damn 10 hours you in there, it ain't nothing but you standing up, walking around, and putting money in buckets and plates being passed, and they sitting there playing, putting their hands on your head, telling you to speak in tongues.
Right.
This is crazy. Because they think if they could get a whole bunch of people in this church to believe that something came over them and said, that somehow these people think God is with them. But when you can read and you come into the ISUPK and you get the correct breakdown, right, on these scriptures, on these records, you will see that that is a lie from the greatest and deepest pit of hell in this place. You understand? Even heaven and hell. You understand? So all of these, what King James did, man, was a mighty work. And the Spirit of the Lord had to be on that brother. And the first thing that Esau does, you know what he do? Oh, he an alternative lifestyle. That's the first thing. That's the first thing they say about a black man that starts any revolution with them. They even did it with Christ. They got all type of teachers. Why didn't Christ have a child? Oh, he was in love with a man. And come on, man. All of these different agendas being pushed. You understand? Because people simply just don't understand the Bible. There are brothers and sisters that don't understand what translation means. When you could just easily go on your phone and see what the definition of translation is. To understand this Bible, you have to understand what is being said. And to understand what's being said in the English, you have to understand what is said in the Hebrew, from which it comes from. You understand? All right. Let me get 1 Maccabees 6:6. That's going to be in the Apocrypha, right? And I'm gonna bring this out about the Apocrypha right here. I'm gonna read the Kanawakana. I'm gonna give y'all a little insight on the Apocrypha, right? The Apocrypha is a book that has, let me show you. I give you a look at it. This is the Apocrypha, right? The books in this book were in the first translation of this, which would be the 1611 King James Version. These scriptures were in this, but the Roman Catholic Church, as always, they found a way to cause some type of division and some type of confusion, and they separated these books, right? They separated these books from the King James, right? And we're going to show you why they did it, right? I'm gonna just read some of this out, right? And this is how evil the so-called white man is, man. And one of you brothers, if you got I'm gonna just read it out. The First Maccabees,
Okay,
the First Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 6. I can read that one. Just one of you young brothers find the book of Acts, chapter 2, and Romans 10 and verse 1, and just hold those for me. Bubba Kushab.
Acts chapter 2.
And once again, man, give these young brothers a hand, man. These brothers are young brothers in here reading, man. Young brothers in here reading, man. And I'm delighted, you know, and thankful that I got these young brothers reading for me tonight, man. Acts chapter 2. Just hold the book of Acts. Just go to chapter 2. Just stay right there. And the second one is Romans chapter 10, verse 1. Romans 10. Romans 10 and 1. And on Acts chapter 2, just stay there. I'm going to give you the verse to go to that, right? We're probably going to start from we're going to read from verse 1 on that. All right? But just to give y'all a little insight on the Apocrypha, right? The Apocrypha is a collection of books written between the Old and New Testament that is included in the Catholic and Orthodox Bibles, but generally not in Protestant Bibles. Now, see, listen, this is the crazy thing that is sickening about the so-called white man. We see right here where it says it's included in the Catholic and Orthodox Bibles, but generally not in the Protestant Bibles. Why would it not be in the Protestant Bibles when King James had it translated and put in the first edition of the 1611 King James Bible? We have to understand that we are dealing with a beast. You understand? But every single book in the Apocrypha and in this book is considered canon, right? Now you got these other books that they call the book of Judas. You got another type of some crazy other book. Those are the Gnostic writings. Those were all books that were not used in the translation because some crazy group of people made those books. You understand? And they follow this type of religion called Gnosticism. You understand? Right? So the Apocrypha is in the original 1611. It's just certain books. It's like Ecclesiasticus, Wisdom of Solomon. Let me get some more. First Maccabees. We're about to go there. You know, books like that. And these books, the reason why they took them out is because these books hold certain scriptures in them, right? And so we're going to pull out some of these scriptures. We're going to pull out this First Maccabees first, but it's some other scriptures in here that we're going to pull out that I'm pretty sure a lot of folks never heard. You understand? And I'm going to save those scriptures, you understand? Because when you hear them, it might be your first time hearing something like this. People will say, well, God loves everybody. There are scriptures in this Bible that refutes that. That proves that God does not love everybody. So on top of trying to steal and keep the books to make it say what they want it to say and to get out of what they even tried to keep the books to keep you from knowing certain knowledge, like who the devil is. You understand what I'm saying? Who's the people that does not get salvation? These are all books in these scriptures, right? And I'm gonna bring out the First Maccabees. I'm gonna read that one. I'm gonna put that much pressure on them young brothers. I ain't gonna put that much pressure on the young brothers. We're going to go First Maccabees chapter 6, verse 6. It says, and that Lysias, who went forth first with a great power, was driven away of the Jews, and that they were made strong by the armor and the power and store of spoils, which they had gotten of the armies whom they had destroyed. Also, that they had pulled down the abomination which he had set up upon the altar in Jerusalem, and that they had compassed about the sanctuary with high walls as before in his city, but Bethsura, right? Now, if we go up, let me see. If I go up a scripture or two, right? It goes talk about Antiochus Epiphanes, right? Antiochus Epiphanes is one of the kings that came up from the horn of the Greeks, right? This is a revolution that we are reading that is being started with these people. This is from Judas Maccabeus, right? I forgot the brother's name in the Hebrew. But he rose up to fight against Antiochus Epiphanes, right? Because what they did was came in and they took over. They caused what was called the desolation of the abomination of desolation, which means they came in and made the temple desolate. They came in and started sacrificing swine in the temples, which made what? Which made the temple unclean, right? The Lord didn't take a sacrifice of an unclean animal. And when they did it, they forced our people to do it, right? If you look at these books right here, right? And the main thing why they would want to take something like this out, right? Is if I can oppress you and say, look, man, even if I enslave you, even if I cut off the way you eat, even if I hang you from trees, I unalive your children, I put you in jail and imprison you for great sentences that don't even make sense. If I can get you to see in this book, right, that you're supposed to love me and forgive me, right? I keep a power over you, an unspeakable power over you. But if I could pick up a book and see where the same people that followed this God, they revolted against you, right? That would give me the strength to do what? To fight back against my oppressor. This scripture is just breaking down simple so-called revolutions. Revolution comes from the word revolt. You understand? We've always stood up to our oppressors. There have always been brothers to stand up and say, hey, man, listen, man, this ain't right. This ain't the way to go, man. This ain't how we should live. We shouldn't pollute the sanctuary. We shouldn't follow this person. I'd rather be unalive than break the law of the Most High. You understand? And just to give you a little bit more background on how vicious it was, I'm going to read to you Maccabees chapter 1. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go in chapter 1. It's a sidebar right here. This is a good one right here. Right? First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 11. Verse 10. I'm gonna start at verse 10. And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus, the king, who had been an hostage at Rome. And he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. That's how you get your Hellenists. Our people go and say, look, man, hey, the so-called pastors, the so-called leaders at the time said, look, let's just go make a covenant with them. And they became Hellenists. And they took on all of these different things that the Greeks did, took on their culture, which became a religion to them. They took on the language. You understand? Many don't notice one of the books that was used, one of the records that was used to help translate into the King James 1611 was the Septuagint. You understand what I'm saying? Part of the Septuagint was translated and broken down for some of these records because some of the records was written in Assyrian and in Greek. You understand? The Septuagint is one of the Greek books. You understand? So this is what's going on. We got our own people plotting and trying to get power and saying, look, we ain't going to fight back. We just going to take it. And they make leagues and covenants, right? And it says, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then verse 13, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, whereupon they built the place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. You understand what I'm saying? And that's going to talk about into everything like your Olympics, your entertainment, your basketball players. You understand? King James, you know, that's LeBron James, you know. We became entertainers. It's scriptures like these that they did not want you to hear or to understand, because you will see exactly who fit this bill today. Instead of being people that follow the Lord, we follow entertainers. We don't want to be priests. You understand, anymore. We don't want to do those things. We want to grow up and be a basketball player, a football player, a baseball player, soccer player, a comedian, an actor. We want to be some type of form of entertainment, some type of toy, when really you're a warrior. Like the scripture brought out in 1 Maccabees 6:6. Instead of becoming a piece of entertainment, you should be trying to fight back against these people, man. And the only way you can learn to fight back is in the ISHPK and the Commanding General Yohana, man. You understand? The Spirit of the Lord was on King James, man, to fight back against the Pope and the Protestants, to keep these records alive. And as you can see unto this day, they try to cause confusion by putting it in a separate book when it was translated and put into one. This is how evil these people are, man. This has been a long war, man. A long war. Right? Let me get that Bubba Kashar, if you could, young warrior. Who had the Acts chapter 2? I want you to start at verse. We're going to start at verse 1. Yeah, we'll start at verse 1. We'll start at verse 1, right? Go ahead when you got it for me, young warrior.
Acts chapter 2, verse 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place.
All right. Now, this scripture, we ain't going to jump too much into it, but this is where we have a church to this day called the Pentecostal church. And if any of y'all grew up Pentecostal, you know there's two things that's going on in the Pentecostal church. They in there singing and they speaking in tongues. And this is where they get it from, right? And it's all Christian. It's all made up. It's all Christian religion and all of that. But just to give you a sense, right? This is where your Pentecostal church come from, right? Go ahead, young warrior. Read the second verse.
And suddenly there came a sound from heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting.
Right, go ahead.
And verse 3. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues,
Right,
like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them.
okay, now hold that right there, warrior. It said these men got together and it's like a flame of fire descended from heaven on their mouths, and they had cloven tongues, and they went to speaking in these languages, right? Now we're gonna find out, right, in this scripture, the people, right, who are speaking with these tongues. We're gonna find out what type of men they are, where they're from, and who they are, right? Go ahead to the next verse. Bubba Kashaw, young man.
Verse 4. And they were all filled with the Holy Ghost.
Right? Stop right there. They were all filled with the Holy Ghost, right? Which means they were all filled with the Spirit to obey the Lord, right? They were on a separate vibe. They were given the Spirit to obey the Most High. Go ahead.
And began to speak with other tongues.
They began to speak in another language. That's all it means when it says to speak in tongues. There's no way in this translation that it says that they were giving the power to speak gibberish. All right. The translation to this just means they were given the power to speak in another language, right? Okay, go ahead.
As the Spirit gave them utterance.
Right? As the Spirit gave them utterance, as the Spirit allowed them to speak, right? Okay, go ahead with the next verse.
Verse 5. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem, Jews.
What? Say that again. Who was dwelling at Jerusalem?
Jews.
Jews. The devout men that were dwelling here that gathered were Jews, which just means they were from the tribe of Judah, right? This is where the majority of the tribe of Judah was at, because we're going to get into it in a little bit right after this. It's not too far from it, or what happened to Israel as a whole and how we separate. You understand? All of this is key and important in understanding that language and understanding language is important, man. Language is powerful. You understand? And it said they were Jews, right? Now I want you to drop down, young brother, and I want you to go to verse 9. All right? And I don't want to help you pronounce these words. Start at verse 9.
Verse 9. Parthians.
That's correct.
Correct.
Parthians and Medes, and Elamites, Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia, and in Judea, and Cappadocia,
Mm-hmm.
and Pontus,
Mm-hmm.
and Asia, 10, Phrygia,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and
Pamphylia.
Mm-hmm.
and Egypt,
Mm-hmm.
and in the parts of Libya,
Mm-hmm.
about Crete,
Cyrene,
and strangers of Rome, Jews,
and
and proselytes, proselytes.
Mm-hmm. Go
Verse
ahead.
11.
One more verse.
Verse 11. Greeks and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongues the wonderful works of the Most High, or God.
Right. Now, all these people were Jews that came from other countries. It's just like we here in Virginia, right? The Lord has the Passover, right? We come out of Norfolk, Virginia. We come out of Orlando and Tampa, Florida. We come out of Houston, Texas, right? And we come together, right? and we celebrate with one another, and we speak the language of the Lord, and we all understand what is being said, right? It was no Asians and no Africans. You know, these were brothers that were scattered abroad, because these scriptures tell us that we would become what? We would discontinue from our heritage. We would become Romans, Grecians. We will go into cities in Africa. We got brothers in Africa. You understand what I'm saying? Who are teaching in the school, and they are not Africans. They are as Negro as can be. Officer Yeshaya, you understand, over there in Africa. Get that brother a hand. I can't imagine. You understand what I'm saying? We got brothers scattered, and they're coming together. You understand? It is important and imperative that we understand that us knowing our language and fighting for our language is important, because communication, I know y'all hear this all the time. Communication is key. I'm here to tell you today, communication is the biggest key. And when these brothers came together, even though some were Arabians and some were Creeks, when they came together, they all spoke on one accord. You understand, right? And let me get that Romans 10:1. Romans 10:1, if I could, young man. Bubba Kashar. When you got it, go ahead and read.
What verse?
Chapter 10, verse 1.
All right. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God, to the Most High, for Israel is that they might be saved.
Young brother, please, Bubba Kashar, read that from the top again, nice and loud for me. Read that. I need everyone to hear you say this. Go ahead, young brother.
Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel is that they might be saved.
Imagine if the Roman Pope, the Roman pedophilia Catholic Church would have got their hands on this record. To me, and right here, we all know who wrote Romans, right? We all know who the author of Romans is, right? Paul, right? We understand that. Paul said, brethren. He got deep with it. Brethren called him my brother, my heart's desire, my mind, the thought in my mind. You understand what I'm saying? Desire and prayer to the Most High for Israel. He didn't say everybody. I can teach right now. The ISUPK under Commanding General Hunter has every right to teach that only so-called Negroes, Native Americans, and Hispanics can be saved. There is no one else who can be saved. This is why the Roman Catholic Church and all of these other Edomites caused all these wars all over the earth, looking for the covenant of the ark, doing all of this unaliving and wars and starting and thieving, starting all this commotion and confusion. They all did it just to try to keep you from knowing that the only creator, the only real physical power or God in this earth, the creator, the one who created it all, he only desires you, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child. If I don't know what, if there's anything greater than that, somebody put in the chat, man. Put in the chat if there's something greater than that. Can anybody tell me something greater than that? And this brother right here in chapter 10, verse 1 says, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer. This is what he prays. He's not praying for a new house. He's not praying for a new car. He's not praying that he gets some type of material blessing. He's praying that Israel, that they might be saved. Saved from what? What do we have to be saved for? We have to be saved from our enemies, man. We're going to tell you what matter of fact, we're going to show it to you. One of the young warriors, can you gather up Luke chapter 1. Luke chapter 1, we're going to start at chapter 1, verse 70. All right? We got to understand this, man. We got to understand this. And this is why what King James did was so powerful, because it keeps scripture like this in this book where it can be understood for us in this time. I can't read Latin. I can't read Greek. You understand? Hell, I can't read Espanol. You understand what I'm saying? But I can read this. Officer Yaquan can read this. I can understand this real well. You understand? I can read that. I can understand what these and thou and all of that mean. I can understand when it says in Romans, the book of Romans, chapter 10, verse 1, this brother only prayed for Israel. I can understand that, right? I can understand it. Barak thought why Yahweh shot for King James, man. I'm gonna give that brother a hand clap. I'm gonna give him a hand clap, man. I thank him for fighting against that, man. To say, because now I can know what's in these scriptures, man. Right? One of you brothers got it? Luke chapter 1. Start at verse. We're gonna start at verse 70. Right. Go ahead. Baba Kashab.
And they had no child.
Luke chapter 1. Chapter 1, go to verse 70.
Verse 7.
Baba Kashab. Just go in chapter 1 and go to verse 7. Luke chapter 1, that's a big chapter. It's a big chapter. Just stay in Luke chapter 1 and look for verse 70. Right? Take your time. You'll see it. Just go to Luke chapter 1, start from verse 1 and go all the way down to verse 7. All right, you got it. Most High in Christ. Go ahead. Strong and loud, young brother.
As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. All right, hold it right there. It says, as he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. The Lord has always spoken through his prophets.
That's right.
Always. The Lord has always spoken through his prophets. The Lord speaks through the priests and prophets in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohanan. Right. And has been doing so since 1969. You understand? You have to understand this. You have to understand that this is in the Bible so you can understand who we are. Right. I would have never known that the brothers in this school were the living representation of the Most High if I could not understand them. If I could not communicate with them, if I could not read these and thou, I would not be able to go and look up the translation. Right? I would not be able to know that Paul only prayed for Israel. I would not know that Paul prayed for them to be saved. What did we have to be saved from? Keep going, young brother.
Verse 71, that we should be saved from our enemies.
Read that again, young brother. We should be saved from who?
That we should be saved from our enemies.
That we should be saved from our enemies. Man, listen, man. The Lord don't love everybody because everybody don't love us. You understand? This is in the Bible. This is in the Bible, Christian pastor. This is in the Bible, Muslim imam. This is in the Bible. This is a part of the King James translation, man. The closest thing that we have to our native tongue. What do I mean by that? Because it correlates with the words in which was written aforetime. The Roman Empire was just trying to take it and say, hey, man, ain't nobody got no enemies. Except for if you come up against the Pope. What's their favorite saying, sir? I'm probably sure if you heard it. To come against the Pope is to go against God.
Yeah.
That's their favorite quote. It's in every movie with the Pope. To go against the church is to go against God. But we see right here that to go against the so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians, you go against God. That is in these scriptures. And it said that we should be saved. This is why Christ, this is the father of John the Baptist prophesying. You understand? I wonder why they don't bring this out in the Christian church. I wonder why not? Why they don't have a church service about who is the enemies, who need to be saved? You know why? Because they only want what's in your pocket. They're waging the same war on you that the Roman Catholics would. To build a life for them so they can lead over you, rule you, and take your money and make you poor while they become rich, while they enjoy heaven. And they teach you that you have to lose your life to live in heaven. I have to become a ghost to become successful. I got to be Ghost Dad. I got to be Bill Cosby.
Right.
I got to become Bill Cosby. You understand? Have a good life.
Right.
Got to be the Ghost Daddy.
Right.
This is absurd, man. This is what the true priests and prophets are for. To give you the true knowledge of this book, man. This is John the Baptist's father telling you why Christ had to come. Right? Go ahead, young man.
Verse 72, right?
On 71. Finish up 71.
And from verse 71, and from the hand of all that hate us.
And from the hand of all that hate us. I'm going to give you a name of all the people that hate us. The Roman Catholic Church, the Protestant Church, the Christian Church, the Baptist Church, the Mormon Church. They hate us. King James knew that. He knew that all of those people that wanted to take these scriptures and twist them, he knew they hated who? He knew they hated him. He knew they hated the people, his constituents that he ruled over. Why? Because they were black. He fought the way he fought. So when those brothers ended up down in the West Indies and in Jamaica, they were saying all of those songs about Yah and Jah and all of that. Because they knew who they were. They knew who they were in their oppression. They know why the Chinaman down there took all the banana imports down there, man, in Jamaica, man. The Chinese, man, let me tell you, he like a cancer. He is everywhere our people are, feeding off of us like a leech. And if you ask him for a crumb, he will unalive you. Just ask that young sister in LA that went into that store, man. And that dog unalived that young sister, man. Christ came to save somebody from being hated by everybody else. It's only a group of people that fit that description. You would never know this if the Bible was not translated into this language right here. You would not know that. You wouldn't know it at all. Go ahead, young brother.
All right. Verse 72. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers and to remember his holy covenants.
All right. That's the warm job of reading. To perform the mercy promised to our fathers, not the mercy promised to everybody else. We just seen Paul in Romans 10 say that his prayer is that Israel be saved.
That's right.
See, this is all down the line, man. We got to understand this, man. I understand a lot of people see us coming here and doing these classes, and they're like, oh, man, these brothers taking up all my time and all of this. Listen, man, we teach you how to live, how to keep your life everlasting, man. How not to go out here and lose your life in these streets, man, to drugs, to alcoholism. We're here to teach you how to survive, man. The only way you can survive is to come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. You have to come back to the house of understanding. That is what the ISUPK and the Commanding General Hunter is. It is the house of understanding. Come in, right? Come in and get this understanding. You cannot get it in the Christian church because the Christian church will not tell you that Christ is coming to save a certain people from being hated by everyone. They tell you what? Christ loves everybody. Christ saved everybody who want to be spiritual. He saved the spiritual. No, he is not. And if the Roman Catholic Church, the very church that hates your guts, got their hands on these records and kept it in Latin and kept it to themselves, guess what, man? You wouldn't know this. This is why it is important to know who King James is and what he did. You understand? Trust me, it wasn't an easy task. It wasn't easy. I can imagine what that brother had to deal with in those times with those savages, with the devil that the Bible speaks of, so-called white man. And if we know anything about them, they are a house that will stay divided. How many civilizations the white man done fumbled, man? Greece, Rome, America. Like, the evidence is there that they are not rulers. The scriptures say, and here's another one. The scriptures tell us that the world is given into the hands of the wicked. Do y'all see the story that's being painted right here? I pray you do. I pray you understand and y'all see what's being brought out right here tonight, man. I hope y'all see the story forming. I hope the picture being painted. It's a reason why this brother did what he did to keep these evil devils from getting their hands on these records, because you would have never knew that Christ died for a people to save them from their enemies. We're going to keep bringing it out. Let's get a little more. Let's see the time. I don't want to run over the time.
8:50.
Come on, Con. I'm going to finish out with this Luke. I'm going to keep going with this Luke, and then I'm going to close it out. Let me get verse 74. Go to verse 74. Just go down to verse 74. Stay in Luke 1. You got it? All right. No sweat. You get it, go ahead.
Verse 74, that he would grant unto us that we bring delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear.
Right. That he will grant unto us that we, being delivered out of the hand of our enemies, might serve him without fear. You are supposed to be able to say that the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of without being afraid. You come in here, you're going to learn how to say it. The Bible does say that the white man is the devil. Right? You read in Maccabees how if you go and read in the book of Maccabees, man, and I advise anybody to read them, man, start from chapter 1, man, and you will see the horrendous things and laws that the Grecians put on us, man, to keep us from worshiping our power. You understand? Just imagine, we had Black Wall Streets to where it took years for one single dollar, one single bill of our currency. It took years for it to leave out from amongst us to go out of our community, man, into any other community. That's how you create wealth. We never needed nobody else except us and our power, man. That's it. And look what happened when we started them Black Wall Streets, man. They dropped bombs on them. Right now, if every Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian tried to get up and just say, hey, you know what? Y'all got it. Y'all can have your food stamps. Y'all can have your Section 8. Y'all can have everything. We just all want to leave. I guarantee you, they will let us gather. And at the gathering point, they will bomb us. They would unalive us. They will not let us go. They won't. You know why? Because we sustain them. Our poverty and our suffering sustains them. And that is in the Bible. All right? And that is why we need to know that what King James did was very, very important, man. We need to know that. And for time's sake, I'm going to read verse 77. To give knowledge of salvation unto his people by the remission of their sins through the tender mercy of our power, whereby the day spring from on high have visited us, to give light to them that sit in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the way of peace. And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit and was in the deserts to the day of his showing unto Israel. And that was talking about John the Baptist, man. John the Baptist was the prophet that set the way of Christ coming, man. You understand? Christ's own flesh and blood is well. You understand? He was his cousin, who was born before him and came and spoke of him coming, man. You understand? So what we got to understand is, brothers and sisters, that it is imperative that we understand who King James was and why he did what he did, because there's too much ignorance going on out here where brothers and sisters say, well, who wrote the Bible? And it was this and this and that. The Bible is for you to understand how to come up from under white supremacy. All right. And with that, we're going to end this part one, and we'll be back with part two at another date. Let me bring these are the ISUPK security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Room for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother and sister comes into the school, they are off limits for a year. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After a year, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. And after this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21. Malachi 3, 8 and 10. Ma'ashra means tenth in the Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or the teacher. The priest fund is a free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Up holy convocations is the Feast of Hanukkah, right? December 13th. Reminder for all Akim and Akwatim to check the bulletin boards in your hallways. If any brother wants to come in to be a troop in the school, to start wearing all black, boot, shirt, pant, headband, and scarf. And with that, shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man, if you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're 1 West. They're 1 West. They're 1 West. They're